Okay guys, I have to be honest, this video took way too long for me to make. I originally planned on this video to start a series talking about the games that are on Xbox Game Pass, but I didn't even manage to start the script before the game left Xbox Game Pass. So here we go. Today we're talking about Coffee Talk 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly. At first I thought I would just go through the game itself, plot point by plot point, but the longer I typed, the more I wasn't satisfied. It was too clinical, too bland. Watching back my footage and just recounting what I did wasn't going to do this game the justice it deserved, because Coffee Talk is a really good game. The Coffee Talk games are pixelated visual novels that take place in Seattle. Coffee Talk 2 specifically takes place in 2023. In this world, various creatures live among humans. Satyrs, banshees, vampires, these are all regular people in this world. Actually, every day that passes in Coffee Talk has a newspaper front cover with the headlines that really kind of lay out what the world is going through. I didn't dig too deeply into the politics of this world, but I do believe it's there if you really want to delve into it. You have a smartphone that sort of tracks your progress and gives information, and one of the tabs is a news site. Personally, I wasn't super interested in reading full articles when the whole game is reading dialogue, but what I'm saying is the world is there for people to explore if they're interested. This is a pixelated game, which is a style I really love. I used to make pixel art from perler beads all the time, and I really appreciate detailed pixelization, which these games have. The characters of the game are all really well designed. I don't think there is any one design I don't like. They're all very unique and match the characters' personalities perfectly. I couldn't help falling in love a little bit with each new character that came on screen. Now, what is the gameplay like? Well, there isn't much, which doesn't mean that it's lacking. This is a visual novel, which means there is very little gameplay. The barista you control can only affect the world through making coffee and giving items to characters. You don't even get any dialogue choices with any of the characters. So you get either 3 or 4 chances to make drinks for characters each day, and you can choose to give those characters items that are left at the coffee shop with their drink, which changes certain story elements. This is probably a good time to talk about how I'm actually kind of bad at this game. I forgot to give every item except Georgie's lighter and only made the correct drink about 50 or 60% of the time, which last time I checked is a failing grade. Despite that fact, making the drinks was my favorite part of the game. I wanted to do it all the time. When you give the wrong drink, the barista always says they can remake it, but the characters never let you, and the more drinks I got wrong, the more stressed I got. The characters seem so sad when you give them the wrong drink, and I'm not even allowed to fix it. In the smartphone, there is a social media app that gives you a friends list of all the characters, and when you give them the right drinks, your friendship with them goes up, and I was honestly sad at the end at how few friendships I was able to max out. This game is meant to make you slow down and spend time with these characters and chill out. Every problem is low stakes, so it's just a nice, relaxing, enjoyable ride, the equivalent to sitting in a coffee shop and chatting with your friends. And as someone who only makes coffee at home and doesn't have any IRL friends, it really does feel like you're part of these characters' lives.
The gang's all here.
The music in the game is very relaxing and super aesthetic. The music is so soothing, in fact, that it almost put me to sleep the second day that I was recording. Up until very recently, I've been working a lot at my day job, and I was recording this as my brain was readjusting to more chill work hours, and playing the game and hearing all the sounds really put me at ease. I think it's time to talk about the real stars of this game, which are the characters. I don't really want to spoil too much of the actual plot for those of you who want to go play the game yourselves, but I will give a spoiler alert now that I might reveal plot points as I'm talking about characters. The first character you meet is Georgie. Georgie is a cop who works the late night beat around the coffee shop. He's a pretty mild-mannered guy with a wife and kids. He's a family man who chose to be a cop after his grandfather's house was burgled as a kid, although the kicker is that his grandfather didn't like cops and didn't actually approve of Georgie becoming one. But Georgie prevailed because he wanted to help people. He's a bit superstitious. He has a lighter that his grandfather gave him that he keeps on him at all times as a good luck charm, and claims that he has bad luck when he doesn't have it. Despite that, he keeps leaving it at the coffee shop and I have to keep giving it back to him. I managed to get one of Georgie's better endings on the first try. His story consists of him investigating the vandalization of cars in the area. His is one of the more touching stories, and I think it's best to experience it yourself than me butchering the retelling. The next character is Lucas. Now, I like all of the characters in Coffee Talk too, but there are a couple I don't love. Lucas is one of them. Like, he's fine. I understand his appeal, but he's just not my cup of tea. Lucas is a satyr and an influencer, for lack of a better term. He's essentially a YouTube star if YouTube existed in this world. He got his start in a content house making prank videos, which feels almost too Jake Paul-y to me. However, Lucas is on hiatus right now because he wants to make new, different content, and he's trying to figure it out. He's also afraid that his content house won't like the new direction of his channel. Turns out Lucas comes from a huge family with many brothers and sisters, and he had an absent father who would send money from time to time, but it was never enough. So when Lucas set out on his own, he was basically penniless, and he talks about drinking only honey coffees to get some calories. It turns out his father passed away, and when he did, he left his house to Lucas. So now Lucas works as hard as he can to keep his family in the house. He is very charming, and I do care for this character. He just has a cocky side that I just don't vibe with. So let's move on to the next character, whose story is intertwined with Lucas's, Riona. When I first saw Riona, I was immediately drawn to her, but what's funny is how much my view of her changed throughout the game. Riona is a banshee who dreams of being a soprano in the opera. Banshees are considered bad luck, so she's somewhat shunned by society. She works as a delivery driver, kind of like an Instacart or maybe Amazon driver, so that she has a flexible schedule to go on audition. She's convinced to reach stardom the old-fashioned way, without the help of social media, because the one time she put up a video of her singing, she got so many hate comments she had to take it down.
You gotta have friends. Stop singing!
Her story intertwines with Lucas's, as he really wants to use his platform to showcase the talent of small creators, and he wants his first guest to be Riona. But Riona is convinced that his show will tank if she appears on it. Now, I only got their good ending. There actually are no bad endings to worry about, but I got the most basic ending for the two of them. Riona and Lucas are pretty hard to please. I fucked up their drinks the most, and while I was infatuated with Riona the first 2 days she showed up in the shop, I realized as time went by that I didn't really love her. The reason for this is because I realized I saw too much of myself in her, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but basically when I looked at her, I felt like I was looking in a mirror, and I really didn't like what I saw. We're gonna move on to the next characters. Aqua and Myrtle are from the first game, and I fucked up their ending. They only show up for 2 days, and since I was playing it organically without looking anything up, I really didn't know what I was supposed to do with them. Aqua and Myrtle are game developers, and Aqua is currently working on a new game. She had been approached by a larger game company to develop her game for her, and she's very sketched out about the contract, and her dilemma is if she should sign it. Aqua and Myrtle are fighting about it, but I really couldn't follow what the fight was about because it seemed like they both agreed the contract was bad, but Aqua was just pointing out that she doesn't want to miss out on an opportunity to get her foot in the door, although it seemed like ultimately she knew she was better off not doing it. So I don't know. I wasn't able to get them to make it. Whoops. The next character is Lua, my beautiful, wonderful, perfect queen. She was love at first sight for me, but unfortunately, she is taken. In fact, she gets married in this game. Her story continues from the first game, but they summarize it well enough that it didn't feel like I was missing anything. Lua is a succubus and is getting married to Baileys, an elf. They are perfectly matched, but they are disagreeing on the wedding. Baileys is an all-around good guy who pays attention to Lua, what she likes, what she doesn't, and is always giving her ideas for the wedding based on those tastes. Lua admits that this should make wedding planning fun and easy, but instead she feels mad and frustrated, and she doesn't know why. She brings up that Baileys is no longer in touch with his family and makes less money than she does, while she feels obligated to her family because they'll be helping pay for it. Baileys wants to give her her dream wedding despite the cost, but is also put off by how big the wedding is getting. I'm going to spoil the ending here because I did get the best ending for them, but they end up realizing that they need to plan the wedding for them and only them, leading them to have a small intimate ceremony with their close friends and a reception at the coffee shop. And, not to brag or anything, but I was invited to the weddings, like no big deal or anything. Now I get to talk about my second favorite character, Amanda.
I'm Amanda. I'm 6.
And also her sibling Silver, who is from the first game. Amanda is an alien and also absolutely delightful. No offense to my beautiful perfect Queen Lua, but Amanda's design is top tier. The galaxy in their helmet changes color depending on mood, and they show a lot of body language because they don't have facial expressions. They do that foreign alien talk where they're way too technical and blunt, and I love it. Their sibling Silver was part of the same hive mind before coming to Earth and assimilating with humans. Amanda's goal to come to Earth was to find Silver and kind of just help them, while Silver's goal is cute. They want to find love. They are also in the process of opening a coffee shop that turns out is a front for an organization Silver started to help aliens assimilate like they did. These two have a very good, wholesome story, but because of the whole forgetting to give items to people, I didn't unlock their full story. Next is Rachel, who is a cat girl who can actually turn into a cat. She is a popular singer and dancer, and there isn't much to her story. In fact, you can't complete her story in one run of the game, because she gets inspiration for different songs when you give her different drinks on the same day. There are 3 drinks total that you need to serve her to unlock the full song library and complete her story arc. The biggest role she plays is her influence on Riona. They meet, and Rachel decides to help her by networking through the people she knows to try to get her some auditions, even though it's a long shot because they're not exactly in the same circles. Rachel also encourages her to use social media and not to give up on it, ultimately helping her decide to actually appear on Lucas's show. Lastly is Gala, who is a werewolf, and Hyde, who is a vampire. These two have been friends for a long time, and Gala was Hyde's bodyguard back in the day. Hyde is moving back to Seattle after modeling in LA for a while and is struggling with his career. He loves modeling, but the modeling scene has changed. He loved when people cared about making things that lasted a long time, but nowadays everything is about influencers and fast fashion. He wants to get out, but really doesn't know what he wants to do instead. He only knows that he wants to do something that will leave a mark, something that will be remembered. I should mention that while Hyde's story is a really good and introspective one, he's also a huge dick about it. I love vampires, but I do not like Hyde. He orders a drink from you his first day, knowing you won't be able to make it right. You are forced to fail his first drink, and he knows it. He kind of keeps this unfeeling vampire thing going, but you can tell that underneath he's a bit of a softie. He truly cares about his old friends like Lua and Gala, and he even has a soft spot for you, the barista, implying that even when all his other friends are long gone, the two of us will always have each other. With the help of Gala and Lua, and, well, me, I guess, he is able to discern that photography, like the old film-style photography for weddings, is his next career path, deciding on doing Lua and Bailey's wedding first. And those are all the main characters. They're all so different and great in their own way. I really appreciate how the creators of this game were able to make all of these unique characters, and honestly, I was really impressed that I was able to play this easily without having played the first one. When I tried to Google if I had to play the first one, I couldn't get a super clear answer, so I really hoped it wasn't necessary. And honestly, I wasn't lost at all. The game didn't go overkill on the backstories of characters. It all felt very natural and not at all like I was being fed information. The dialogue between the characters was also very natural and real, which really did help with immersion. I feel like it might sound weird to be immersed in a pixelated monster game, but despite that, I really did feel like I was part of the world the whole time I was playing. In fact, there was more than one time where I would step back and just be like, it really feels like I'm at work right now. But like, not in a bad way. I work retail as my day job, and while it's not food service, a big part of my job is helping and talking to customers, and somehow this game really nailed that realistic feeling, all while you're making coffee and tea for succubi and vampires. So in the end, I really recommend this game and encourage anyone who watched this video to give it a try. It's no longer on Xbox Game Pass, but the game itself is very inexpensive, so please support the creator of these. I know I will, because even though I just talked for all this time about the game, I'm not done with it yet. Stay tuned for a follow-up video where I try to get all of the achievements. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm still trying to find my groove, and I really liked making this one, and hopefully if you guys did too, I'll make more. So if you want to stick around for my journey, please like the video and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!